There are many techniques that can be used for collecting requirements. It is understood that not all the techniques will be used by a single project. The project manager and the team will select the techniques from among many that they believe match the needs of the project and can be successfully used to collect requirements from the stakeholders. Which techniques will work best depends on type and size of stakeholders, ambiguity or clarity of project objectives and stakeholders' needs, the domain of the project like construction, marketing, finance, or IT, stakeholders' level in the organization, and geographical distribution. So let us talk about the most common techniques used for collecting requirements, irrespective of the industry or domain. First, expert judgment. This is the most common technique. Every project manager uses this technique. Contact the right resources, the ones with the knowledge and expertise, to engage in the process of collecting requirements and also collect their requirements and get their understanding of the identified requirements. Second, brainstorming. If some creativity is needed to identify requirements, then brainstorming is an excellent technique for that purpose. Bring relevant stakeholders in a room and work with them to create requirements. The questions that can be asked are: what features and functions should be in the product? What different ways the service can be delivered? Third, benchmarking. This technique is usually used when the project is about resolving a problem. The project team looks at other departments in the organization or other organizations in the industry to see how they have handled the issue, what they may have done, or how they may have uncovered the requirements. The technique is good when the project team is only focused on catching up with the others or with the industry. It will not work well if the team is looking for a competitive advantage. Fourth, interviews. This is another commonly used technique. Interviews can be conducted one-to-one, that is, one interviewer and one stakeholder, the interviewee. Two interviewers and one stakeholder interviewed also works well when one asks questions and the other scribes or takes minutes. The benefit is that it gives a personal touch to the requirements collection. Interviews can be structured or unstructured. Structured is that question list is brought into the interview and questions are asked one by one. Unstructured goes with the flow. Questions are asked to clarify what was just said. Fifth, focus group. It is used when the requirements can go in many different directions and it is important to set the direction first before collecting the actual requirements. Project team facilitates a session of invited stakeholders by asking an open-ended question and then asking the group to discuss. The objective is to see which way the discussion is going. This helps in setting the direction. Questions may look like: what do you think about something? What our customers may be thinking? And what was your experience of something? Sixth, questionnaires, surveys. If the number of stakeholders is large, then questionnaires and surveys can be used to collect requirements. Imagine collecting requirements from 1,000 stakeholders, like employees. Interviewing may take a year to collect their requirements. It is unproductive and unmanageable. A survey is the right choice in this scenario. Both closed-ended and open-ended questions can be asked to collect the requirements. Seventh, document analysis. I think I started every project with document analysis. I have done document analysis before going to interview a stakeholder so that I am well prepared for that interview. It includes all the current documentation that exists. For example, operations manual, training manuals, workflow charts, business rules, and others. Eighth, affinity diagram. When the number of requirements is large, it is better to group them based on some categories or affinity with each other. The method is called affinity diagram method. The team will be able to see areas to explore to find more requirements. A transformation project at the hospital ended up with 3,000 requirements. There was no way anyone could understand without categorizing that list. Affinity diagram helped with sorting those 3,000 requirements into groups. Ninth, mind mapping. It helps with structured brainstorming and also presents the collected requirements in a tree format to understand them better. 10th, observations. This method is also called job shadowing. Get in the stakeholders' shoes and see what they see, experience what they experience. Observations can be active or passive. Active when the observer asks questions while observing the stakeholder do the work, and passive when the stakeholder is not interrupted and questions are asked towards the end. I have used this technique to observe how work is being done by stakeholders physically or on computer screens or filling forms. It helped understand the business process and the application's behavior. 11th, context diagrams. It is used when the objective is to make sense of the requirements in a larger context. For example, how the area of change interacts with other areas, or where are the points of contact, or information sharing between systems or departments. Context diagrams make high-level interaction visually understandable. 12th, prototyping. If the project objective is to create something new which the stakeholders have no experience with or they have never seen it, then prototyping can help in collecting their requirements. A prototype is a model, a mock screen, or a concept presented visually. Stakeholders are able to generate ideas and requirements by looking at the prototype. So, these were some common techniques used for collecting requirements.